Hello, thank you so much for the nice introduction. And first of all, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to IELTA members Armen and Glenn for this wonderful teacher caravan idea. And thank you all for attending virtually, locally, and internationally my presentation. The question you can think of is what cultural characteristics do you find most interesting when learning the English language or any new language? Here we are sharing screen now. Now, okay, here we go. Um, Great. So cultural elements. To start with this topic, I want to present some cultural elements which help to define the term culture. We have symbols referring to verbal and nonverbal language, such as idiomatic expressions, tone of voice, accent, conversation styles, gestures, well-known objects or homemade artifacts, traditional dances, and World Heritage landscapes. Rituals are social activities that can be rescued in small or large meetings like cultural activities in fall and spring seasonal celebrations. Then values as the feelings about what is good or bad, beautiful or ugly, normal or abnormal, sentiments which are present among participants and leaders. Regarding these ethical values, we can also start these at school, either in a subject material or working in service projects, organizations, volunteering. Heroes, real or imaginary characters who are standing for people in a community to be guiding as behavioral models. And finally, these characters are also portrayed in myths, traditional stories of heroism narrated in novels and comics, for example. And a specific example of a national hero both in Argentina and in the United States is the legendary cowboy for his bravery in the countryside. And my personal example of an Argentinian comic is Mafalda, created by Kino, and similarly sharing the same characteristics of the American comic Charlie Brown and his friends. My province, Jujuy, Argentina, and Clinton, New York. Now going more local in my teaching, I tell my students about Jujuy, the province where I was born, which is located in the northwest of Argentina. The main elements I focus on are the celebration of the Mother of the Year in August, giving thanks of what we have and produce, the cathedral as an important historical building where the Argentine flag was presented, the map showing the four microclimates, the valley, the rainforest, the ravines, and the high plateau, the National Park Caliregua, home of jaguars and Guarani Aboriginal communities, the Hill of Seven Colors and of 14 Colors, considered a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, and the local flower, the Lapacho Rosado, having a similarity with the beautiful cherry blossoms. And my second home, Clinton, a small town located in upstate New York. It is surrounded by a forest with lots of green in summer and colorful maple trees and kingo leaves trees in fall. There are deer, squirrels, chipmunks, robins, cardinals, and bears, and mountains to do hiking with special hiking boots. And in winter, there is a lot of snow, so the degrees are always below zero, but the beauty of nature makes this or makes you forget about this detail. And this picturesque American town, my university, Hamilton College, is located, and their inhabitants celebrate Thanksgiving, pumpkin carving, apple picking, apple cider, Christmas, Hanukkah, and other winter holidays, spring breaks, and summer farmers' fairs. I miss all these events, and of course, I miss Hamilton a lot. Now, cultural approaches, going more technical when teaching language, we should think of language as a system of signs having a cultural value, language as a major role in the interpretation of culture, especially in its printed form, and I would say in digital and social media. social culturalism as a teaching and learning methods that generates knowledge and meaning from the interaction of experiences and ideas. This can be the social and historical aspect of culture and language study. There is a third element here, and it is imagination. Some authors called this a third cultural space, entitled In Common Dreams, Metaphors, and Creativity. We also have to take in mind the terms ethnocultural empathy and ethnoculturation. Ethnocultural empathy, the understanding of feelings that are not only ethnically but also culturally different, and ethnoculturation as the transmission of cultural values. The approaches for teaching culture can be field trips, experiential activities, cross-cultural training techniques with multicultural teams like this Caravan, authentic material, literature. Another good example, it can be teaching Spanish, English tutoring programs at elementary schools and language clubs at universities. There are many cultural outcomes on cultural learning, such as cultural understanding, cultural awareness, cultural adaptation, assimilation, integration, social change, identity transformation, and language proficiency. Now, practical examples on homeschooling as the new normal, and I would say the new future. Argentina or Argentine folklore dances and traditional legends in November. For this great idea, I want to thank the ballet based in Manhattan, New York City, and the director Adriana, who kindly teaches us and dances via WhatsApp, Google Meet, and Zoom every Tuesday and Saturday. I was lucky to have this connection after participating in the Hispanic Heritage Month parade back in 2018. So now I'm starting a YouTube channel with permission of parents. Okay. I'm going to show some of these stay-at-home activities that I was telling you about, and these cultural dances that we can practice with children, with adults also, for teaching. In this case, for example, um, for teaching imperatives, let's say. Applauses. So let's practice. Let's dance at home. I'm sure you can do this with family, with your friends. And of course, it's very, very, very easy, as you have here the instructions. Yeah, it's first clap. You clap first like this. Then you start walking 4 steps, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 steps back, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make a zapateo similarly to flamenco and zarandeo using the beautiful skirts and dresses. And finally, the repetition of this and the final turn and final greeting. So this is fun. I think this is a good activity for teaching imperatives, as I was telling you, and of course, teaching some culture. Okay, sorry, let's continue with the following slide. Now, experiential learning and creativity. First, some authors on psychology states that through creative thinking, we can think more dynamically, becoming non-offensive and more open to new experiences and new ideas. So we are able to integrate multiple perspectives, finding universal connections, working collaboratively towards unified goals and conflict resolutions. And creativity awakens students' personal voice, ethical awareness, and inspiration for social action. In recent classes, I can provide actual examples of language cultural exchanges. For example, number one, open mic classroom activity with translation and poems. Number two, video conferencing with Emma from France. And number three, teaching English at Jujuy University, inviting my professors on campus for sharing teaching techniques that help students learn English to students who are learning Spanish. Let's continue. Now, challenges and opportunities. As we say, is creating a pedagogy on dialogue and cultural action. Other authors propose a language education focused on dialogues to create an atmosphere of democracy, equality, and community. The pedagogy based on dialogue is an encounter among cultures. In this process, the actor should be open, curious, and respectful. We also can think of a community building as well as creating a dialogic learning community or cultural circles. Instead of a teacher, we have a coordinator. Instead of lectures, dialogue. Instead of pupils, group participants. So in these cultural circles, we attempt through group debate to clarify solutions or to seek action in a climate of respect. Teaching in a cultural diversity classroom, also in a multicultural diverse classroom, there is a need of establishing bridges to allow intercultural dialogues and respect towards other cultural identities and nations. Also give importance of concepts like international cooperation, cultural diversity, global citizens, as well as giving importance to social cultural aspects, especially when students are shaping as individuals motivated to move among cultures. Cultural intelligence identifies four skills: motivation, knowledge, strategy, or metacognition, and action of behavior. My personal challenges and goals as a teacher at home are remotely teaching and learning. So continuing with the TPR activities for becoming a better teacher, a better dancer, and a better sporty person. Now the conclusions for wrapping up the presentation are creating a welcome atmosphere as a way to engage and participate in cultural classroom activities and events. This is called cultural synthesis. It is a way to integrate and come to learn about other people's worlds. Teaching and learning in a culture of agency or culture of action, as Professor Hayes says, educators should include paying attention to classroom and school climate, community experience, service learning, family interactions, cultural narratives, norms and expectations, socioeconomic factors, and social media. Although these variables may work differently in different cultures in different countries. And finally, considering multiple intelligences and cultural intelligence as a new skill. As we know, the multiple intelligences theory created by Professor Howard Gardner brings up a new concept, cultural intelligence. This skill will improve to adapt in different contexts and different cultures, for example, in multicultural classrooms. So to conclude or to continue the discussion, I want to bring two questions for you to think what are the benefits of teaching culture and language and how cultural elements will interact and transform our students' cultural identities. Thank you so much. Can't wait for your feedback, questions, comments, and suggestions. And of course, I hope you enjoyed this presentation to use these cultural elements or your home cultural elements to your English classes, and of course, in a way of engaging students and participation. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon.